Welcome back to Get Fit Guy. This is Kevin Dunn. If you are a regular listener, you may have noticed that this is the first new episode for a whole month. I want to talk a little bit about why this was and what I've done to get back to speaking with you, hopefully more regularly. So, in full disclosure, I took a month off for my mental health. And the reason I'm talking about this is that I know many people listen to this show, and therefore it's statistically probable that listeners may experience something similar to my experience. I also just want to state the obvious up front that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, and this is just my own personal experience. Now, you may also know if you've been listening that I am now, guess what is commonly referred to as neurodiverse. To be specific, I've been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, which is now just grouped in with other things and referred to as autism spectrum disorder. There are many different things that this means for me and many different ways it impacts my life. Most notably, I find it really difficult to know what people mean, what different life scenarios mean, and how to navigate them. For the past 7 years, I've had a best friend, or I'll call her an anchor person. This person was invaluable to me in keeping me on an even keel, and I trusted their advice about things I needed to do above all else. Unfortunately, as can happen in life, that friendship experienced some challenges and I lost my anchor person. Now, this was a huge blow to me because I now suddenly had to try and navigate things whilst flying completely blind. On top of this, you may know that I'm not just a sports coach, but I've also spent significant efforts to try and change my life for the better. And to this end, I spent the last year or so trying to do as well as possible at my degree, which is in philosophy, so that I could move to an elite university. I did manage this, but the stress of doing so was very large. Sorry. You know, we have editors and they probably want to cut this kind of thing out, but I want to try and be open and honest with everybody. So perhaps I may feel a little upset talking about this because it's personal. But I don't want it to be edited out because I feel that that would impact this. So hopefully it's still here and you can understand me. So the stress of trying to move to an elite university was really a lot on me. And now I need to move to this brand new university in a brand new city. I don't know any people there. And this can be a major challenge for anyone. But I think for neurodiverse people, it might be even harder to cope with change and attachment that I have to weird things. I can get attached to inanimate objects. I'm attached to my favorite barista at my local coffee shop. And if she's not there to make my coffee, I don't know what to do. I'm attached to the mat space that I like to use at the gym I go to. And if someone else is using that, I might just leave the gym. Anyway, all of these things combined and totally overwhelmed me. And I'd been spiraling downwards kind of all summer. But it reached a head about a month ago and I just hit absolute rock bottom and couldn't function. I wasn't eating food. I lost about 12 pounds in body weight and struggled to go outside and, just was feeling a bit like now, very, very emotional. But I had to look at things really objectively and I realized that with only 5 weeks to go, before I was due to start at a new university, I really needed to sort things out and to do it fast. Because moving to a new city is challenging enough, but the pressures of a more challenging course at a more challenging institution, if I couldn't steady the ship, then I'd be at a massive disadvantage before it even started and potentially fail at the endeavors I was making to make my life better. So Fast forward 4 weeks where I've not done any new podcast episodes. And yes, I'm still having big challenges. But things have improved to the point that I feel like I can move to a new city and I can start university and be able to cope with the demands. Regular listeners will know that I don't see fitness as getting shredded so you can go to the beach. It's about being disease-free within your whole organism, being healthy in your body and also healthy in your mind. Philosophically speaking, identity or self is really murky. One thing we can't say for certain is that the mind and body aren't connected. They look like they need each other. So it would be remiss of me to want everyone to be healthy, but not talk about health of the mind. But I can only talk about it in terms of what I know. The network has a psychology show, but I do know what's helped me, even myself, out this month. And I can also talk about the mind in terms of philosophy too, and stay totally in my lane. So, what has helped me to get back from rock bottom despair to be able to be thinking about doing a big challenge like education and relocation of my whole life? The first thing is talking. So, right now I'm just talking into a microphone, but I know there's tens of thousands of people listening to this. So it is cathartic. And I told everybody that would listen about what had happened. And this is really important for a few reasons. Because firstly, without the presence of my anchor person, I wasn't sure anymore if what I was feeling was right. Maybe all my feelings were wrong. Maybe I was wrong. And talking with different people allowed me to get a range of different opinions. And if you get external ideas in on things, it either helps you to reassess things or to have acceptance of them. Many people I know don't talk about their problems. Many other people I know have regular therapy. Others have less healthy ways to deal with acute trauma like loss, such as alcohol or drug dependency. For me, it was, first of all, just talking to a number of different people. It's also helped me to validate my experience. It doesn't make things instantly better to hear people confirm that what you've experienced was wrong or bad, but it does validate your experience and makes it a little bit easier perhaps to know that this wasn't your fault. In addition to talking with friends, I do also want to note that I did hire professional support and I have been going to therapy. I've been doing a therapy called EMDR, which I believe stands for Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing, which is used most commonly for PTSD. I might talk about EMDR in another episode when I've had more sessions and I'm better placed to talk about it. Now, friends and people that you know are great because they can be there like almost instantly for you on the end of a phone or come round to see you. And they're certainly cheaper than therapy and they listen for longer than an hour. But there's no substitute for the real thing. Therapy for me so far has been a 10 out of 10. The next thing was try to stay really busy. And when the wheels first fell off, basically I just hid in my apartment, wore comfy hoodies, didn't shave, didn't shower, didn't do anything but sleep. This meant, though, that I was pretty much alone all day with my thoughts, flashbacks to my lost friendship, worries about the future and university, imposter syndroming myself, believing I wasn't good enough. I swung wildly from thinking that I'm not good enough to go to this university, all the way to thinking, well, this university can't actually be that good because if it was, they never would have let me in. And of course, all of the points in between that, like thinking somehow, they've missed my results, or my previous results were mismarked, or I've just faked this entire thing and managed to scam the entire interview and selection panel of a global top 20 school. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I decided a better strategy was to try and set myself a task for the next month to do 2 things a day that would maybe be nice. And for me, this looked like 1 place a day I wanted to eat at, as well as giving my permission to myself to eat whatever I wanted. And I have to tell you that in the last month, many pizzas have been eaten. I also set myself a task to complete 1 physical goal a day. That could have been just to walk a minimum of 10,000 steps with my dog, Maverick, or to try a new activity. I tried hot yoga, Filipino stick fighting, a running class, and a circuits class. I might have lacked a desire to go to hot yoga, but when I got there, someone else telling me what to do for an hour just meant I was just listening and following instructions, and I wasn't able to think at all about my stress and my problems. Sure, they came back when I walked out the door, but I'd bought myself an hour where my mind and my heart were just relaxed. I wasn't in fight or flight mode. And this was really critical for me because it reduced my overall stress. The next thing was nutrition. Now, at first, I wasn't eating at all. I didn't eat for maybe 4 or 5 days, and my body weight just plummeted, and this is bad. And once I started to show myself some love, though, I was finding that pizza was my craving. This has a lot to do with dopamine and hormones that we crave when we're down. So anyway, I made a pact with myself that I wouldn't give myself a hard time for eating whatever I wanted for dinner. But I had to make sure that any other meals that I ate during that day were nutrient dense. We still need good nutrition no matter how bad we feel. It's okay to comfort eat, but we need to also get in our vitamins and minerals. The next thing was forgiveness. Now, when things go wrong, we all want to understand what happened, want to fix things, or we want to have closure. And in a relationship or friendship, or maybe even the loss of a job, this isn't always possible. The other person might not want to speak to you, and then you can't fix things. This becomes really frustrating, and you might panic. And I know I did. And that's okay, because it's normal to panic. It's normal to experience every emotion: anger, sadness, rage, despair. But you shouldn't then add guilt on top of that. You shouldn't be guilty for how you feel. That's just you gaslighting yourself. You have to feel what you feel, acknowledge it, and forgive yourself. And at the same time, when you're ready, try to understand what happened to lead you to this point. Therapy might help unlock this for you. Now, have you had a trauma or a group of traumas in your life that have locked you into a certain way of responding to things? What can we do to avoid repeating the same cycles in future? Now, I know for sure that it hurts so much to lose this trusted anchor person. So what can I do to make sure that in future this doesn't happen again? And I'm going to leave you with a short poem by Portia Nelson, and it's called "There is a Hole in My Sidewalk." Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk, and I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes me a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it's there, and I still fall in. It's my habit. My eyes are open, and I know where I am. It's my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street. If you have any questions or just want to say hi, please email me on getfitguy@quickanddirtytips.com. Get Fit Guy is a Quick and Dirty Tips podcast thanks to the team at Quick and Dirty Tips, Morgan Christensen, Holly Hutchins, Director of Podcasts, Brian Getchus, and Davina Tomlin. I'm Kevin Don. If you have a question for me, 510-353-3104 is the voicemail, or email me at getfitguy@quickanddirtytips.com. For more information about the show, visit quickanddirtytips.com or check out the show notes in your podcast app.